Hi there, good evening. Hope you had a great Sunday. And now it's time to look forward to the coming week. Welcome back to this week's edition of Looking Forward. The show is about stories that are shaping up over the coming days and weeks. News that is developing and will have consequences for your life and mine and impact our choices. Stories that shape India's and world's politics and economics going forward. So let's get going. Tonight's show packs a punch with 5 stories that you should look forward to this week. First up, Prime Minister Modi hits the campaign trail in Tamil Nadu. The BJP has been focusing hard on the Dravid state as one of the last few political frontiers to win. Bengal being another, of course. Would Prime Minister Modi realign the stars for his party this election? That's story number 1. Story number 2 tonight is about India's quiet but resolute pushback against global rating system that disadvantage the global south. Ever wondered why Finland can both be the happiness capital of the world and the rape capital of the world? The devil is in the rating system. This week, India launches its own. We give you a lowdown. Story number 3 looks at the finer details of the likely trade deal between India and the European Union, with the EU leadership in town in New Delhi this week to be the chief guest at the Republic Day parade. Story 4 looks ahead to the anniversary of President Donald Trump's first year in office for his second term. What a year it has been, and we are going to give you details and what happens next. And story number 5 takes you from Washington to Greenland to check if there's a war brewing between America and Europe. Yes, that's what's happening, at least in the Georgia. Let's begin with the headlines. Noida techie dies screaming for help after a car plunges into 30 feet drain. Negligence comes to light in the case, which shows that there were no night lights or signages that were put up. Disaster response team failed to save him. Vijay summoned by the CBI again in Karur case. He lands in Delhi and will be present in front of the CBI officials tomorrow for questioning. TVK Chief Vijay last week was questioned for 6 hours by the agency again in Delhi. Indira Gandhi Indoor Stadium in New Delhi unfortunately becomes more infamous for its embarrassing infrastructure failures than for the on-court action after unhygienic conditions were spotted. Bird droppings and monkeys stopped during matches of international players during the international badminton tourney.
घुसपैठ को भी पूरी तरह रोकना होगा और जो लोग बीते दशकों में फर्जी कागज बनाकर यहां घुल मिल गए हैं, उनकी पहचान करके उन्हें उनके देश वापस भी भेजना होगा.
Ahead of elections in West Bengal, Prime Minister Modi holds a massive rally in Shingur, says infiltration biggest challenge for the state, and that if BJP comes to power, those illegal infiltrators would be thrown out of the state. EU diplomats to hold crisis talks over Trump-Greenland tariff blackmail. Macron urges EU to deploy a trade bazooka against US as Trump ramps up tensions. Even as Giorgia Meloni of Italy, Donald Tusk of Poland and Macron toughen their respective postures on American bullying against Denmark. Welcome back, friends. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to kickstart the National Democratic Alliance's campaign in Tamil Nadu on January 23rd, targeting a massive crowd in Coimbatore. That's what party sources say. This high-profile event is expected to clarify the party's alliances in the state, with potential tie-ups with regional players like AIADMK finalized and formalized. The BJP, of course, aims to tap into Tamil Nadu's growing discontent with the ruling DMK government, focusing on issues like unemployment and federal funding. Prime Minister's visit underscores the party's growing ambitions in the Dravid state, long dominated by Dravidian parties, including, of course, DMK and the ADMK. As the campaign heats up, analysts predict a potential fragmentation of the Dravidian vote bank, making this a crucial electoral battle in Tamil Nadu.
In the heart of India's vibrant south, a new chapter in political drama unfolds. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is gearing up to launch the National Democratic Alliance's campaign in Tamil Nadu on the January 23rd. This high-profile event, expected to draw massive crowd, could finally resolve the swirling suspense over key alliances. Sources indicate that NDA partners, including potential tie-ups with regional players, will share the stage, marking a strategic offensive against the ruling DMK.
Every party which has got a nationalistic view that India has to be one, and this misrule of DMK has to end. See, from 4 lakh crores, they have almost taken the debt to 11 lakh crores. In spite of taking it to 11 lakh crores, and the NDA government led by Mr. Modi has also given 11 lakh crores. So, whereas this almost 7 plus, the 7 lakh, 4 lakhs was the debt. So this 7 lakhs and 11 lakhs, 18 lakh crores, plus the rise in so much of prices, and everywhere they have raised prices. Let us assume it is about 2 lakh crores or 3 lakh crores. Whereas this 20 lakh crores gone in the last 5 years, it is absolute misrule, and every party which thinks that Tamil Nadu is part of India and it is a nationalist movement, they will all join us. We are very sure more and more parties will come and join NDA to oust this misrule of DMK.
As the Tamil Nadu's electoral battle heats up, Prime Minister Modi's visit underscores the BJP's growing ambition in a state long dominated by Dravidian politics.
मैं तो कभी कभी हैरान हो जाता हूं, तमिलनाडु के कुछ नेताओं की चिट्ठियां जब मेरे पास आती है, कभी भी कोई नेता तमिल भाषी में सिग्नेचर नहीं करता है। अरे तमिल का गौरव हो, मैं सबसे कहूंगा कम से कम तमिल भाषा में अपनी सिग्नेचर तो करो।
The rally is slated for a grand venue in Coimbatore, a BJP stronghold in the making. Prime Minister Modi will address thousands, outlining the NDA's vision for development, infrastructure and cultural preservation. Insiders reveal discussions with AIADMK factions and other parties aiming to consolidate anti-DMK votes.
No alliance is a marriage of eternity, it's all a marriage of convenience. So the marriage of convenience between DMK and the alliance is long over. That MK Stalin failed to realize because his dream is getting shattered day by day. His dream of crowning his son is getting shattered. That's the reality. And the political equation since Tamil Nadu has changed so dramatically or so drastically that once we were mocked as a party of untouchables, nobody is willing to come into our fold, into our leader EPS fold and AIDMK's fold. Now that is also busted. Once the national party BJP came and joined with us, then followed by PMK, Another 2 or 3 more stronger parties are in the pipeline. The last leg of negotiations are happening. So which means that this is a formidable alliance as promised by our leader Edappadi K. Palaniswamy. Wherein whatever was promised from the DMK side with respect to the people of Tamil Nadu welfare, it's all gone to dogs. And DMK is struggling every day, every minute to keep the alliance afloat. That's what it is. The dream of MK Stalin to crown his son Udayanidhi will not happen in Tamil Nadu. That's what the 2026 outcome going to be.
This comes at a time when Tamil Nadu's economy is booming, but issues like unemployment and federal funding remain flashpoints. Central to Prime Minister Modi's outreach is a deep nod to Tamil Nadu's legacy. In a recent tribute, the Prime Minister hailed AIADMK founder MG Ramachandran, known as MGR, for his transformative role in the state's progress. The Prime Minister has time and again highlighted the massive anger against incumbent DMK government and their policies.
तमिलनाडु जनसंघ के जमाने से और भारतीय जनता पार्टी, मैं कहता हूँ 5 पीढ़ी हमारी इस विचार के लिए वहाँ खप चुकी है। तो एक निरंतर काम चला है। जब कांग्रेस से लोग निराश हुए तो प्रादेशिक पक्षों की तरफ गए और लंबे अरसे तक प्रादेशिक पक्षों का जो कुछ भी कामकाज देखा है, अब लोग निराश हो गए। डीएमके के प्रति जबरदस्त गुस्सा पैदा हुआ है। मैं कल्पना नहीं करता हूँ इतना बड़ा गुस्सा पैदा हुआ है।
The DMK, Tamil Nadu's ruling party, has sharply criticized Prime Minister Modi's cultural overtones. But when asked DMK if their alliance with Congress is on the verge of breaking, here's what they said.
There is no evidence at all that the Congress party is going to break relations with the DMK and Tamil Nadu. Yesterday, a very important meeting was held with all Tamilian Congress leaders, and what has come out is that the alliance will continue, but don't talk outside. And they're using TVK as a small bargaining point to kind of put pressure on the DMK to get enough MLA seats of their choice, Congress party's choice, and perhaps demand a share in power. The main issue is, will DMK for the first time agree to a share in power in the next government? That also, in my opinion, Congress party will not pressurize DMK too much. The recent election results have not been favorable to Congress party anywhere in India, including recently in Maharashtra and Bombay. Therefore, this alliance will continue.
DMK leaders argue that true respect for Tamil culture means addressing issues like state autonomy and language rights, not just quoting ancient texts. As Prime Minister Modi kickstarts his campaign, analysts predict a ripple effect. The NDA's push could fragment the Dravidian vote bank, especially if alliances solidify.
Narendra Modi's visit to Tamil Nadu, Prime Minister is going to have a major show on 23rd of January. Like West Bengal poll speech, like Assam's poll speech, Mr. Narendra Modi will be very aggressive on DMK. Parivarvad, the family, the dynasty rule in Tamil Nadu. And moreover, Prime Minister focus will be on drug menace in Tamil Nadu. Prime Minister focus will be on corruption. Prime Minister focus will be on center's money is not being properly distributed to the Tamil Nadu in districts, and the social welfare program of Narendra Modi are not reaching the Tamil Nadu public. A Narendra Modi-Amit Shah duo will ensure that DMK to be uprooted from Tamil Nadu government. That is what Amit Shah has been saying in Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha also during parliamentary debates. Amit Shah's aggressive campaign in Tamil Nadu is going to ensure ADMK may try to return to power. That is, Edappadi Palaniswamy is being projected as the Chief Minister. He will definitely be having an edge over DMK.
For the Congress, the alliance with TVK seemed like a distant dream, and when asked if Congress is clearly in favor of ties with TVK, here's what they said.
The Congress High Command clearly given the instruction that Congress is the national party, and whatever the decision taken from the High Command level, only High Command will take the decision to whether to go with the DMK or TVK. It is only the purely the decision of the High Command. High Command will take the decision at the right time and right place, whether to go with the DMK or TVK or alone. The Congress itself is capable of handling the elections, but now we are at this point of juncture. No one will have to take the decision before the media that whether Congress will join hands with the DMK or TVK.
As January 23rd approaches, all eyes are now on Tamil Nadu. Will Prime Minister Modi's charisma and cultural tribute sway the voters? Only time will tell in this electoral saga.
India's and Global South's experience with West's rating system has been marked by a sense of bias. Dominated by agencies like the World Bank and IMF and private ones like the Moody's, it has been criticized for prioritizing GDP over ethics and sustainability. Atmanirbhar Bharat is now responding, launching the Responsible Nations Index, RNI, a framework that evaluates countries based on responsible governance, social well-being, environmental stewardship, essentially how you behave in the Committee of Nations. Take a look.
For those who came of age during India's early liberalization years, the fear of credit rating agencies remains fresh. A jumble of alphabets, AAA, BB, junk, decided the fate of entire economies. AAA meant cheap capital and global approval, anything below, and it meant that the economy was effectively punished. India lived through it repeatedly during 1990s and early 2000s. Despite India's size and scale, it had no control over the process or the product. India was not alone. The non-Western world, the Global South, was reduced to a mute spectator. A few judged the many. But India is now pushing back. India's response is formal, the Responsible Nations Index, RNI, India's answer to Western moral policing. A framework that asks who behaves responsibly in the world, not who lectures the loudest. The index rests on three pillars: internal responsibility, the justice and dignity, environmental responsibility, sustainability and stewardship, external responsibility, peace, cooperation and stability. Responsibility is a privilege. How do you measure vaccine diplomacy, humanitarian missions, disaster relief? Western ratings never did. India will. The RNI will evaluate 154 countries using transparent global data. For the first time, the world will be evaluated through the lens of the Global South.
फैमिली इंस्टीट्यूशंस कि भारत में कितना एज है जब आप माता पिता का घर छोड़ते हैं, जीवन भर नहीं छोड़ते हैं, 100 साल के हो जाएंगे फिर भी माता पिता का घर नहीं छोड़ता है, मरने के बाद भी नहीं छोड़ता है। तो सर्टेन पैरामीटर्स हैं जिस पे ये इंडेक्सिंग की जाती है। वो पैरामीटर्स भारतीय दृष्टि से देखेंगे या बाकी देशों की दृष्टि से देखेंगे तो फ्लॉड हैं, अनसाइंटिफिक हैं, और सब देशों को इंक्लूडिंग भारत हमको अपने इंडेक्सिंग के साथ आना चाहिए और अगर कोई संस्था इंडेक्सिंग कर रही है भारत में भारतीय पर्सपेक्टिव से दुनिया भर का, तो उसका स्वागत भी होना चाहिए।
The roots of the Western ratings system go back to World War II and the Bretton Woods system of the IMF and the World Bank. By the 1970s, 3 private firms came to dominate the ratings. Cut welfare, privatize open markets, or face downgrades. This is where the RNI differs from the traditional indices. While traditional indices focused on power and economic dominance, RNI will focus on ethics, value-based leadership. For the West, ratings had become instruments of pressure forcing policy alignment with the Western priorities. A system many call rigged, where sovereignty came at a cost. Examples are many: Argentina's collapse, Greece debt crisis, Brazil punished during impeachment.
Now, if we come up with our own, how will other countries or other pension funds of other countries or insurance companies of other countries which have, or sovereign wealth funds which want to invest in Indian bonds or equity, how will they compare India to other possible competitive countries, meaning they should invest in India or in Korea or in Taiwan or in Singapore. So the point is, India coming up with its own rating system, India can go ahead and do it, but it's not going to make much of an impact on the behavior of investment institutions, which are called foreign portfolio investors in India.
During COVID, 95% of downgrades hit developing nations, even as the West suffered deeper economic damage. The bias was no longer subtle. That's why resistance is growing.
An impact globally. So we will wait to see similarly how much of an impact India's own rating system will have. What India must not attempt to do is to substitute global indices with Indian indices, because Indian indices may or may not be accepted globally, because the global indices are used for very specific purposes. And ultimately, India will have to spend a lot of time trying to convince other countries of the world about the value, the technical value or the political value of its own new rating system or indices of whatever kind.
The new development bank offered loans without IMF sermons. Russia built its own agencies. China rated itself AAA. The global south began asserting its voice.
All right, moving on. In a world of Trump tariffs and trade wars, India and Europe are about doing what Delhi calls the mother of all deals. On January 27th, New Delhi will host EU leaders to sign a landmark India-EU free trade agreement, in the making for more than 2 decades. This is Brussels' biggest trade pact ever and India's most ambitious deal, in fact, since liberalization began in 1991. Brussels is hedging its bets on New Delhi in the wake of the newfound hostility between North America and Europe, or Uncle Trump and Denmark. That's since 1776, thanks to the Donro Doctrine, as they call it. Have a deep dive on details.
At a time when US President Donald Trump has MAGA tariffs on India.
I mean, I had India coming to me, sir, I've been waiting 5 years. We're changing it. We're changing it. India ordered 68 Apaches, and Prime Minister Modi came to see me. Sir, may I see you, please? Yes, I have a very good relationship with him. He's not that happy with me because, you know, they're paying a lot of tariffs now because they're not doing the oil, but they are. They've now reduced it very substantially, as you know, from Russia. We're getting rich because of tariffs, by the way. I hope everyone understands that.
When even Trump's allies in the NATO are not safe from a 10% plus 25% additional tariff of the Greenland purchase row.
We need Greenland for national protection. They have a very small population. And I don't know, they say Denmark, but Denmark has spent no money. They have no military protection. They say that Denmark was there 300 years ago or something with a boat. Well, we were there with boats too, I'm sure. So we'll have to work it all out. But he felt very strongly we need it for we need Greenland for national security. Not for minerals. We have so many sites for minerals and oil and everything. We have more oil than any other country in the world. We need Greenland for national security.
Brussels is in crisis. Hostile US dominating China, and a war raging in Eastern Europe. After nearly 2 decades of on-off talks, India and the European Union are set to sign a comprehensive free trade agreement in New Delhi on January 27th. This is Brussels' most expansive trade deal to date, so much so that Ursula von der Leyen, who led the entire EU College of Commissioners to India in February of 2025, is all set to land in New Delhi to ink the pact.
We are the 2 largest democracies in the world. Europe is already India's biggest trading partner. The potential is immense. A free trade agreement between the European Union and India would be the largest deal of its kind anywhere in the world. Europe is open for business and we are ready to invest in our common future with India.
The timing is no accident, as the US hits Indian goods with tariffs up to 50% and threatens Europe with new duties. Both Delhi and Brussels are racing to build a stable, rules-based trade corridor that is insulated from Washington's smooth swings and Beijing's leverage. The EU is already India's largest trading partner in goods, taking nearly 17% of Indian exports. From pharmaceuticals and textiles to engineering goods and chemicals. For Europe, India is a fast-growing China +1 market of 1.4 billion people.
From European Union's view, finalizing the India-EU FTA in 2026 is urgent for economic security. High United States tariffs and fragmented supply chains have increased the risks for the European industries. As of now, a deep trade deal with India helps the EU diversify supply chains under its China plus one strategy and of course reduce dependence on China.
The EU expert frames the deal as economic insurance, locking in a democratic partner in Asia, diversifying away from China, and signaling that Europe still believes in big, rules-based trade deals, even as Washington turns inward. For India, slashing 12 to 16% duties on garments and lowering barriers on generic specialty chemicals and engineering goods could turbocharge exports. Services industry from IT to consulting and accounting stand to gain from easier movement of professionals and regulatory convergence. The Indian trade expert calls it a once-in-a-generation opportunity for labor-intensive industries and high-value services, if domestic reforms keep pace with market opening.
European Union-India trade deal likely to be an FTA, I think will do a lot of good to both the countries. It will deepen the investment ties. It will boost trade to a large extent. And US, as you rightly said, has imposed 50% duty, import duty on exports from India to the US, which is very, very prohibitive, and it is adversely affecting most of the sectors except those sectors which are exempt from duty, like electronics, smartphones, pharmaceuticals, and so on and so forth. So I think it will go a long way, because let's understand, European Union and India, they have been strategic partners for a very long time, almost 21 years, 22 years now, started in 2004.
For the EU, the FTA unlocks a booming market for aircraft and parts, electric machinery, high-end chemicals, and green technologies. from wind turbines to EV components, areas where European firms already lead.
Several European sectors would benefit strongly from the India-EU FTA. Aircraft and aviation part exporters would gain from lower tariffs and easier certification as India's aviation market expands. High-end machinery and industrial equipment producers would benefit from reduced duties and simpler technical standards. The chemicals and specialty chemical sector would gain from tariff cuts and regulatory cooperation. Finally, IP-intensive services such as engineering, digital, and R&D services would benefit from stronger intellectual property protection and clearer rules.
What is important is that agriculture is largely off the table. No sudden flood of European farm goods into India or Indian agricultural exports into Europe, sending a strong signal all the way to Washington.
भारत अपने किसानों के, पशुपालकों के और मछुआरे भाई बहनों के हितों के साथ कभी भी समझौता नहीं करेगा। और मैं जानता हूं व्यक्तिगत रूप से मुझे बहुत बड़ी कीमत चुकानी पड़ेगी, लेकिन मैं इसके लिए तैयार हूं।
However, it's not just the numbers that need to be in the green. EU's Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, or CBAM, also kicks in this month. A landmark environmental policy of EU that aims to rank price goods that are more carbon intensive in manufacturing. For India, these exports like steel, cement, some chemicals will face new levies. While the FTA won't remove CBAM, it offers a predictable framework for cooperation on climate change policy.
I think lots of sectors, for example, are those where an FTA between European Union and India would deepen supply chain relationship. This includes manufacturing, and the most important sectors in manufacturing are auto and electronics and smartphones. Pharmaceutical is again one area which is an area of huge strength for India, where lots of opportunities would emerge. Technology, services, as you rightly said, clean energy, textiles, steel, petroleum products including crude, electrical machines, all these sectors, leather, garments, which are very, very labor intensive sector and very important from an export perspective for India.
The backdrop of this deal is a noisy tariff war, with the Europeans pressed to go harder on India and China. For Delhi and Brussels, the FTA is both economic and strategic counter-programming.
See, as far as India is concerned, we are looking for alternative export markets, and EU could be a very powerful or a viable alternative export destination for India's exports. But as far as imports are concerned, we are actually importing primarily from Russia oil, which EU cannot possibly substitute. But yes, as far as our defense hardware is concerned, that is where EU could fill in the gap, fill in for Russia and provide us with the advanced weapon systems and sensors which could probably substitute Russian weapons which India has been traditionally using. As far as China is concerned, their products, some of them probably could be replaced by EU, but as of now, the cost factor, the cost at which Chinese products are available is far competitive, and EU, I think, and its products are certainly not competitive as far as China is concerned. Chinese products are concerned. On the face of it, India's dairy consumption is still more than the production. So why should India be so concerned about protecting its dairy industry? I really don't know. But these are some of the issues that probably come to mind. But as I said, India-EU FTA would be a definite plus for India, and we would definitely want it. And from EU's point of view also, it will be a very good option because they'll start getting Indian products, and which could be a substitute to a very great extent for Chinese products, which EU wants to reduce its dependence on. And also, it would reduce their dependence on US to some extent.
For India, the EU Pact sits atop a growing web of deals with the UK, EFTA, Oman and New Zealand, while the big one with the US remains stuck after 6 rounds and a missed 2025 deadline. The EU FTA offers an opportunity to not only diversify supply chains, but also a change to hedge against the Trump tariff shock.
At this point of time, the entire globe is in flux because of President Donald Trump's policies. EU itself is in a flux. They don't know how to deal with it. And so is the case with India. India wants to expand its trade partnerships because there is a looming threat of tariffs further increasing as far as India is concerned, because Trump has already talked of 25% increase if you are trading with Iran and taking it up to 500% if you continue to import oil from Russia. And many of these things will become very difficult for our government as we move forward. So we basically want to diversify our trade, and EU is a very, very strong economic entity, though politically it's still a fractured organization, but economically it's a powerful entity, and India would definitely want to have a free trade agreement with it so that our exports could get a fillip and our economy, which is actually rising at a very, very healthy rate, continues to grow and is not adversely impacted by US sanctions.
Von der Leyen and EU are already riding on a high, with the EU, Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay and Uruguay deal signed on January 16th, EU's biggest deal ever in South America.
The EU-Mercosur agreement sends a powerful message. It says, welcome to the world's biggest market and largest free trade zone on the planet.
A deal now with an Asian giant like India in span of just 10 days would send a strong message to the world that the EU means business. With President of the European Council, Mr. Antonio Costa, and President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, attending the Republic Day parade in New Delhi this year as chief guests. The signing on January 27th is much more than a statement. It's reaffirmation of India's trade sovereignty.
1 year ago, Donald Trump walked back into the Oval, promising revenge on the deep state, an America First reset at home, and quick deals abroad to end wars and fix trade. 12 months later, US institutions are bruised, allies are rattled, and India finds itself in the crosshairs with a threat of 500% duties over Russian oil. Tonight, the question is simple. What does this chaos mean for the next 3 years? And of course, for India? We do some crystal ball gazing.
What began as a battle for legacy in his second term.
My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier.
Has now turned into a battleground of narcissism in the name of Make America Great Again.
I can't think of anybody in history that should get the Nobel Prize more than me, and I don't want to be bragging, but so Iran's in big trouble. We're watching the situation very carefully. We will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. Modi's a very good man. Yes. He's a good guy. He knew I was not happy, and it was important to make me happy. They do trade. And we can raise tariffs on them very quickly, and it would be very bad for them. We need Greenland for national security. Not for minerals. We have so many sites for minerals and oil and everything. We have more oil than any other country in the world. We need Greenland for national security. We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country, and we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or...
In his first weeks in office, Trump went on a cutting spree, from DEI programs to rolling back from climate change, to ordering a federal hiring freeze and even declaring a national emergency on the southern border.
President Trump has done something quite amazing, which is he's restored American sovereignty to America by securing our borders. So that's the first thing he did. He has rebooted our economy. When President Ronald Reagan was president, we were the world's greatest creditor nation. President Trump inherited after Joe Biden, where we're not only the greatest debtor nation in the world, we actually weren't respected, and he's correct about that. So he has turned that upside down. It's 180 degrees. So we are a respected nation.
In the following months, his Make America Great Again deportation agenda stopped at nothing. From military-style mass deportation to El Salvador's Secot prison to deploying the National Guard in various states, Trump would stop at nothing for MAGA.
Trump came to office with the Project 2025 playbook, which effectively calls for a fascist regime in the United States. We've never seen anything like this. It's designed to tear up American democracy, divide and polarize the country, go after immigrants, but also to use the U.S. military in the streets of the United States.
Trump's economy policy, however, remains central to the disruption from the Liberation Day pitch in April and the string of deals that followed. The tariff policy has been a MAGA debacle, not just for the US, but for the world. While in February, PM Modi and Trump set the stage for a MAGA-MEGA deal.
अमेरिका के लोग राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप के मोटो मेक अमेरिका ग्रेट अगेन यानी मागा से परिचित है। जब अमेरिका और भारत साथ मिलकर काम करते हैं यानी मागा प्लस मीगा, तब बन जाता है मेगा पार्टनरशिप for prosperity.
Now then the other thing people say, India is walking a tightrope. What tightrope? We are not gymnasts. We are not street performers that we walk a tightrope. What is the tightrope? What we are doing is we are trying to keep our options open as we've always done. You call it strategic autonomy. I don't know what's the difference between strategic autonomy and autonomy. For us, it's sovereign autonomy. A country like India, already the fourth largest economy in the world, and everybody says we are one of the four superpowers of the world. We do what is in our interest. We haven't got to this position by kowtowing to anybody. The Soviet Union didn't get there by falling flat before the Americans. The Chinese didn't get there by begging anybody. We haven't got there.
The full year drew a blank on the agreement, with New Delhi calling for an equitable deal and Washington in the end saying Modi did not call, with a 500% tariff gun to India's head.
There is a deep abiding affection between the people of the United States and the people of India. It is a fact that if America is the oldest democracy, India is the largest democracy. As your Prime Minister Modi said in 2016 in his first joint address to Congress, he talked about indivisibility. And two lovers who are having a dispute can still come back together and make a wonderful family and a wonderful future. So I'm absolutely not concerned about the current situation, because I know that India will rise to the challenge of honoring its pledge of indivisibility. And through that pledge lies a beautiful future.
With many FTAs signed in the months since, the larger question looms on whether Trump can actually crack the art of the deal with India.
Relationship is concerned at the end of Trump's first year. I think it's a pretty normal relationship. He wants to make America great again. I have no problem with that. He thinks he can make it great again at the cost of the world. Half of the world, as he said, I'm only quoting him, when he imposed tariffs was, they are kissing my ass, kind of language that a president uses. We don't do that. We said, you do what you have to, we'll do what we have to. But there are many aspects of the relationship beyond the tariffs. There is technology transfer, there's space, there's deep sea, there's high tech, there's silicon, there's so much. There's education, there's health. These are areas that are moving along very well. But everybody seems focused on one issue, which is tariff. All right, we'll work that out. We'll deal with it when the time comes.
However, the hallmark of Trump's first year back is the global peace disruption he has led or has claimed to have led. From false claims between India and Pakistan to failed attempts between Thailand and Cambodia. The two wars Trump claimed to end even before he entered office continue to face uncertain futures. While in Gaza, Israel drags its feet for the second phase of the deal. Trump is more occupied in cashing in billion-dollar checks to sell memberships to his Gaza peace border, his answer to the UN. In Ukraine, Moscow continues to hail fire, while Zelensky is trapped between the Oval and a hard place.
Your country is in big trouble.
Can I
Wait
answer?
a minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of
we are
coming out
staying.
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President,
We gave you, through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
While Trump got his photo op in Anchorage with Putin, 6 months on, there has been no second meeting and no peace in Ukraine. The result is a 20-point plan that refuses to give Ukraine security guarantees it seeks, or the territory it rightly claims as its own.
What Trump is doing to tear up the international order, to say that he's going to decide, he's going to use force whenever he wants. He's already bombed 7 countries. He's also threatened to bomb more countries. He's threatened to take over Greenland by force against NATO allies. You know, this is beyond credibility, beyond credulity.
Will the second year lead to more desperation in Trump's tactics in Ukraine is something that remains to be seen. And while these two fronts refuse to die down, Trump showed no restraint in opening up new ones. In June last year, the US got militarily involved in Iran for the first time in decades, with Operation Midnight Hammer, leading decapitation strikes on Iran's nuclear program. 6 months later, amid mass uprising reports, US is eagerly contemplating its next steps, regime change or a new deal. The Middle East is back on the edge. Amid all this, Trump made a pariah out of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, who was kidnapped by the US Special Forces and now paraded in New York for a trial. Whether the cause of the actions in Venezuela was Nobel, or oil, the result is neither peace nor any prize.
Problem with NATO is they used to have a 3% GDP dues amount, which they didn't honor. Mainly did not honor. Some did, but mainly it was not honored. So in the Trump 1 presidency, he was trying to get them up to 3%. Now he's got them up to 5%. So our friendship with NATO is today stronger because of President Trump.
Domestically, the pressure on the president is high to deliver. While his big, beautiful bill shut the government down, his clashes with his own federal chair appointee, Jerome Powell, is giving him sleepless nights. With an aggressive Donroe doctrine against Europe, a relentless trade war, and his own personality-driven diplomacy, the global south stares at US with uncertainty.
It's clear that almost no leaders anywhere trust Trump. During Trump's first term, I was invited several times to visit Russia. And almost all my Russian friends, I could be at a conference in which everybody there would be pro-Trump. And I would tell them, Trump says he wants to be friends with Russia. I understand that. But Trump cannot be trusted. There's several speaking tours in India, in which I gave the same message, that we need stable leadership. We need statesmen. We need people who talk for the planet, not for their own parochial national interests.
Trump faces an uphill battle ahead of the midterms amid low approval ratings, with domestic issues like the Epstein files refusing to stop haunting him. While on January 20th, Trump will take his victory lap for completing another year in office, existential realities continue to confront Trump's policies. Trade rhetoric with India aside, can Trump's tariffs actually deal with China, which has recorded a $1.2 trillion surplus despite the MAGA tariff war?
People of India want the same Bill of Rights as Americans in America enjoy. In fact, the Indian Constitution is largely based upon the American Constitution. So I think the way out of this is you have to see that the long-term relationship is between either freedom or tyranny. India has voted repeatedly since 1947 for freedom. There is only one path, and that path is absolutely the American path.
What about Department of Government Efficiency and cutting the cost out of $36 trillion of debt his economy stares at, while trade rivals sign more deals?
The FTAs which we have signed one with the UK, we are going to sign one with the European Union, whether you call it comprehensive agreement, strategic partnership, whatever. We've signed with New Zealand, we've signed with Oman. If the Americans don't want to sign it, so be it. They're not signing it because they want to help me. They were signing it because they want to help themselves in the process of helping me. An FTA is never one-sided. Both sides get some benefit. America will have access to the huge Indian market. The Chinese market is close to them. The Europeans don't have the money. The Russians say get lost. So we are the only people available to them.
And most importantly, by turning the world order upside down by exiting over 70 institutions, will IMF survive? What about the UN? And what is the fate of NATO? Many unanswered questions and 3 years on the calendar. With midterms on the horizon, that is the second year of Trump 2.0 the world is looking forward to.
While still on President Donald Trump, his latest bid to acquire Greenland has sparked a firestorm of controversy, with European leaders rallying behind Denmark to resist the proposal. The situation has escalated with the deployment of European soldiers to nuke Greenland and a show of military strength by Denmark. And even the likes of Meloni of Italy or Alice Weidel of Germany, traditionally Trump supporters in Europe, they're coming out in defense of the Danes.
We need Greenland for national security very badly.
And I may do that for Greenland too. I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland, because we need Greenland for national security. So I may do that. I'll give you a little, I'll take you out of that. In fact, that'll end up being the story. But actually, this is a much bigger story because we're reducing healthcare by numbers that you haven't seen.
United States President Donald Trump wants Greenland at any cost. Just that the costs have escalated. Europe has now shown some spine, finally. After French President Emmanuel Macron took his position, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer followed the suit. A weak-sounding statement, but considerable jump from earlier feeble stance.
They've had a big fight, like two kids in a schoolyard. You know, they fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes. Then it's easier to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language to
You have to use strong language. Every once in a while you have to use a certain word.
Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, who is your friend, he called you daddy earlier. Do you regard your NATO allies as kind of children.
No, he likes me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay? No?
But do you
He did it very affectionate. Daddy, you're my daddy.
All these developments after 8 European nations sent in a military reconnaissance mission to nuke Greenland. Trump responded with his tariff sledgehammer. 10% now, going up to 25% by June. With just 50 soldiers in the European mission, it's only signaling from both sides. From Europe to America, the patience might be wearing thin, and that they would not mind a show of platoon-sized resistance to a domineering DC.
Znaczy konflikt czy próba zaboru terytorium państwa, które jest członkiem NATO, przez drugie państwo, które jest członkiem NATO, i to są w dodatku Stany Zjednoczone, no to byłby koniec świata takiego świata, jaki znamy i który nam przez dziesięciolecia gwarantował bezpieczeństwo.
From Trump to Europe, a warning shot: push should not come to a shove, or else.
Well, to your first question on Greenland, I don't think troops in Europe impact the president's decision-making process, nor does it impact his goal of the acquisition of Greenland at all.
Macron has hit back.
Face à la révolution en cours en Iran, aux attaques odieuses contre leurs propres citoyens décidées par le régime, la France a appelé à la cessation de ces attaques terribles, au respect de la population civile, mais aussi à ne pas escalader dans la région. Et c'est pourquoi nous avons renforcé notre posture. Nous avons décidé de la protection évidemment de nos ressortissants et de nos militaires, mais nous avons décidé aussi d'être aux côtés de tous nos partenaires pour contribuer à la stabilité et la sécurité de toute la région dans ce contexte.
Meanwhile, back home, the Democrats are pushing back against Trump.
There are no pressing security threats to Greenland, but we share real concern about Arctic security going forward. As the climate changes, as the sea ice retreats, as shipping routes change, there are legitimate reasons for us to explore ways to invest better in Arctic security broadly, both in the American Arctic and in our NATO partners and allies.
While the Europe is rallying behind the Danes, their armed forces now too are sending a clear message amidst the recon mission.
I will not go into the political part, but I will say that I would never expect a NATO country attack another NATO country. For us, for me, it's not about signaling. It is actually about training military units, working together with allies. But you are right that it is Danish law that a Danish soldier, if attacked, has the obligation to fight back.
The European reconnaissance mission came a day after talks in DC began between foreign ministers of Denmark, Greenland, and Secretary of State Rubio failed to find a way out.
That what is clear here is that to a lot of Europeans, this is not idealism. It is a kind of strict reality that you have to defend territorial integrity if you are to survive in the long run. And I think that is what happens here. This is the last post.
Would Europe escalate? Would America ignore and move in military instead?
I don't believe at this point where we're at with the situation in Greenland that there's going to be a military action. I think what Trump likes to do is he likes to throw out the total scope of what the United States is capable of doing, and then brokering a deal down from there to where it'll be something that everyone can agree upon. But I do believe that he threw the military option on the table to let Europe know that the United States is capable of going to that level.
Would that mean end of NATO and the transatlantic alliance?
No, I don't think really, though it's a very difficult situation. It's a very complex and, a situation with far-reaching effects. But I don't think that is anywhere indicative of destruction of NATO and the alliance between the Americans and Europeans, right? The European security is, I think, a larger concern for Europe today than Greenland. Let's understand the ground situation. Europeans are more bothered about the Russian-Ukraine war, about what has been today, almost injected into the public of Europe, that Russia is the aggressor and Ukraine is not the end, and Poland could be the next, and Germany could be. I mean, that psyche which has been built, that narrative which has been built in Europe. So Europe is more today concerned about peace from its east, from the east, rather than getting involved into any major thing like Greenland or the NATO alliance breaking there.
With protests intensifying on the streets of Copenhagen, this coming week is critical for Greenland.
Well, we're going to see. NATO has been dealing with us on Greenland. We need Greenland for national security very badly. If we don't have it, we have a big hole in national security, especially when it comes to what we're doing in terms of the Golden Dome and all of the other things.